Prisoners of war, they're given the option. You can take part in our sleep study where you will be awake for 30 full days. You don't get an inkling of sleep for 30 days, a month. And if you survive, if you make it to the end, you can be free. We're not going to hold you prisoner anymore. You can walk out of here and nobody is going to hurt you. It's a singular month in exchange for the rest of your life. Why would you not take it? The experimenters, the researchers, they developed this special gas that's going to prevent the subjects from falling asleep. And the first 5 days, everything goes well. They hardly complain. They're like, this is the best thing ever. We're going to be free in 25 days. After the first 5 days, the subjects start exhibiting severe paranoia. They stop talking to each other. They're only companions in the entire study. They turn on each other. They start whispering into the microphones for the researchers. They believe if they turn on their fellow subjects, they can win the trust of the experimenters that are testing on them and guarantee their freedom. 9 days in, one of the subjects does not stop screaming for 3 hours straight. He is screaming until he tears his vocal cords. And long story short, by the halfway mark, all of the windows that the experimenters are looking into, they're covered in feces. They tell the subjects on the intercom, "We are opening the chamber to test the microphone. Step away from the door and lie flat on the floor or you will be shot. Compliance will earn one of you your immediate freedom." They just hear a singular voice call back out to them, "We no longer want to be freed." By the end of it, the researchers go in and they got to get the subjects out. They find once they open the door, the subjects have started tearing off their own flesh, consuming it. The researchers are providing the medical care that's needed to save them. But in the end, the subjects, they all want to go back into that chamber. They all want more of that stimulant gas. The same thing that ruined them, turned them into these violent zombie-like creatures. They want that gas. They don't want to sleep. So the experimenters ask, why would you possibly want something that destroyed you? They say, well, I must remain awake. It's an addicting idea, the theory, the concept of what happens to humans if they don't sleep. There are content creators that have been trying to replicate that feeling. TikTok Live being one of the platforms. It's called Disturbed Sleep live streams. This is a whole niche of TikTok live streams. A camera is set up and it's live streaming a tiny little bunker-esque room with a tiny bed. There are neon lights typically everywhere. It's not the type of environment that you're going to catch some good quality sleep. You have the live streamer on the bed, and then there's this board behind them. And this live streamer, their eyes are closed. They're acting like nobody else is in the room with them. It feels oddly voyeuristic and illegal. The board usually says, for this donation, this will happen. So for example, for a Galaxy donation, a giant air balloon puppet, the ones you see in front of the car dealerships, will blow up, fill up the room, and start singing Baby Shark loudly at full volume. The concept is very simple. You donate money to watch the live streamer get woken up over and over and over again, not being allowed to fall asleep, never getting the sleep that they desperately claim that they want.
Are they sleeping or are they sitting there?
They're sleeping. They're laying down, eyes closed.
So how did that balloon pop up?
Once you donate, it's all automated.
What?
Yeah, I don't know if someone is there helping.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah, and they make money. You get your own little Russian sleep experiment. You get to torture these live streamers, and humanity becomes less appealing for aliens to save. This is the TikTok live streaming world. It is like an internet's no man's land. Sometimes it's fine. Like sometimes you get those packaging videos or like the crystal scoops or the live harvesting pearls from oysters. I don't know how good that is, but you get those. Other times you go on there and it just progressively gets weirder. There are people pretending to be robots saying, if you donate X amount, I will slap myself in the face. There's this one guy who's on live. He makes these card houses, you stack the cards, and he just starts crying, begging viewers not to donate, which is confusing. And of course, reverse psychologies everyone into donating because they want to know what's going to happen if they donate. And he's just sobbing like someone is holding him at gunpoint. Some people sit there and they tell you the fate of the rest of your life for a small Galaxy donation of $9. It is the place to breed insanity. And as of recently, a woman named Ash Trevino becomes one of the more perverse additions to TikTok Live. Ash Trevino is a 36-year-old woman from Texas who is very clearly doing well for herself on these TikTok live streams. She claims that the most that she's ever made in a single live stream, one sitting there for 2.5 hours, she received $12,000 in donations. $12,000. And her content is not even that stimulating. Like if you're swiping through TikTok Live, you see a man sleeping next to a giant air balloon puppet, you see a man crying on live, these are going to capture your attention. She just sits there at her makeup desk on the phone talking to her boyfriend. And you're just listening to them talk. You listen to their conversation like a little fly on the wall. I mean, one of her many boyfriends. One of them is named Francisco, and the live stream is set up to face her. She's got him on speakerphone on a separate phone, and she's all giggly. She's like a little girl in love. She's 36 though, so I guess a woman in love. She puts the phone up to the live stream. I don't care what y'all say about him. He is innocent. I have 2.3K people watching right now. Francisco, you just hear his voice. He says, I'm just saying, I'm not going to share advice. Like if you want to take the time of your day to actually get to know me, I don't need them to like you. I don't need them to like you, sir, because he's innocent. I don't care what y'all say. He's innocent and y'all are going to see that. And when he becomes, wait, what did your comments say? She leans up and she starts reading her live stream comments.
So she's talking to the viewer.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
They were like, he's not innocent. He's dumb, this and that. Oh, and they say he's innocent, but he's in jail. She starts laughing. And Francisco asks, what do you mean? Oh my God. Oh my God. They said, rip RIP to those who lost their lives. And she starts cackling on the live stream. And she warns him, don't laugh, babe. Don't laugh. Oh my God. I don't know why they're being like that. They're commenting so many stupid things. Francisco says it doesn't bother me. And her viewers, Ash Trevino's viewers, they start turning on her, asking her, why would any of this be funny? Why is this funny to you? Why are you laughing? And she responds angrily, why is it funny? Because you guys are sitting there posting it on my stuff. That's why it's funny. Because y'all are making it seem like some man is fucking guilty of that when he has nothing to do with that. So that's why it's so funny. Because y'all are blaming somebody that's innocent. Like, y'all don't even know the whole freaking story, bro. Y'all see what y'all hear and what y'all read, and it's not even the truth. Like, I don't care. I don't care. Which has people begging the question, what did he do? What is he innocent of? March 28th, 2018, 9:30 p.m. The King County sheriffs are called to this apartment complex. It's a big apartment complex. It's one of those where you have multiple different units, multiple different buildings and facilities. And the police, they know why they're called to the apartment. But even when they get there physically, it's like every single resident came out of their unit and now they're just running. They're scrambling. People are running every which way. The entire apartment complex feels like all hell has broken loose. The police go straight to the place where everybody is running away from. They go straight there. They're going in the opposite direction. They get to the side of the apartment complex, and on the pavement, they find two bodies laying there soaked in blood. Two teenage girls, 13-year-old Elizabeth Juarez and 19-year-old Eviana Cortez. And now the question that police have is, why would anybody want to kill two teenage girls? Especially one that's 13. This doesn't even make any sense. What kind of people have it out for them? In one of the victims' bags, in 13-year-old Elizabeth's bag, they find a black can of spray paint. And above her body, they see all of this graffiti. They're called like gang tags. You mark your territory, essentially, street gangs will, by graffitiing their symbols, their names, their street names, their gang names, their acronyms. And it has been reported that Elizabeth, 13-year-old Elizabeth, was part of the South Side Locos. It's a street gang. And I say was a part of very loosely because she's 13. I barely knew what I was doing at 13. The last thing that I had the mental capacity to do is pledge my loyalty and life to a gang. But apparently, she had seen that a rival from an opposing gang, their rival street gang, was moving into their apartment complex. And prior to moving in, they had come in and graffitied their name, ULK, all over the apartment complex. So as the rival gang member, she goes and she just starts crossing it out. She crosses out their acronyms, crosses out their names, and that is perceived to be a direct threat. Somebody sees her doing this. Now you're gonna think, if you see a little 13-year-old girl graffitiing on the side of the wall, even if you're a part of the opposing gang, I don't know, aren't there codes of conduct, don't harm children, would you not just think to yourself, what has this 13-year-old gotten into joining a gang? But no, she is shot and killed. Along with her, Eviana Cortez, who just happened to be there that day. She had nothing to do with the graffiti. Elizabeth is shot in the back of the head and the back of the left thigh. Eviana is shot 4 times to her stomach, leg, and left ear. They are both pronounced dead at the hospital.
So he lives there and he just walked out and opened fire?
In a car. Yeah.
Wow.
That is Francisco, and that is what he is in jail for. This is the person that TikToker, if you can even call her that, viral train wreck, Ash Trevino, is dating and is live streaming, talking to on the phone while he's in prison for these crimes. She said, they said RIP to the people who lost their lives, and she's cackling. She claims that he's innocent, but is he really? 19 shell casings were found at the crime scene, and Francisco's DNA was found on those shell casings. In Francisco's apartment, they find a revolver, a 9mm magazine matching the shell casings left at the crime scene. They find a laser sight for a handgun to help aim. They find loose ammo as well as writing that confirmed Francisco's gang affiliation. They find messages and photos referencing the double homicide on his phone. In one video that Francisco takes, he is at the memorial for both of his victims. This is days after the murder, allegedly saying, "Man, shows you the repercussions when you fuck with a G-man. You already know what it is." ULK, his gang name. It is believed that he sent this video to fellow gang members on Snapchat. They also found messages from another gang member to Francisco, sending a picture of Elizabeth with the words "RIP little one," to which Francisco's account responds, "Fuck that bitch." 13-year-old. But another aspect to this case that makes people feel like, yeah, sure, but he's definitely guilty. He's got quite a list of crimes that he's been convicted for aside from the double homicide. Tampering with evidence. He tried to intimidate a minor to take the fall for a gun that was found in his car. He has 2 convictions for assault, one of which took place in the jail. The reason that he assaulted a fellow inmate is apparently a guy walks into the unit. Turns out he's part of the rival gang, and without any provocation, Francisco takes off his jail slippers and just starts jumping on this man, punching, kicking him, throwing him onto the ground out of nowhere. Aside from that, the 4 assault cases, the witness tampering case, Francisco is already in prison for another murder that he has been convicted of another rival gang member.
So he murdered 3 people?
Yes. He is connected to 3 separate murders, 4 assault cases, 1 case of tampering with a witness. The prosecutors wrote this about him. Given the defendant's brutal course of conduct and disregard for human life, the defendant clearly presents a substantial likelihood of danger to the entire community. He is in prison, but somehow that is exactly what TikToker Ash Trevino wants in a romantic partner. She likes to date men in prison that are accused of doing heinous things and documents all of this on her TikTok live streams. Netizens are getting involved in real time to try and call the authorities to get her children taken away from her and her prison boyfriends. They want to save her kids from her. Her being Ash Trevino, the now infamous inmate hopper. We would like to thank today's sponsors who have made it possible for Rotten Mango to support the Palestine Children's Relief Fund. They are a volunteer-based and provide free medical care and humanitarian aid to thousands of injured, abused, and abandoned children. This episode's partnerships have also made it possible to support Rotten Mango's growing team. We'd also like to thank you guys for your continued support as we work on our mission to be worthy advocates. As always, full show notes are available at RottenMangoPodcast.com. A few disclaimers for today's case. There are heavy mentions of DV, SA, potential CA, or potential neglect. I also want to make it very clear that the 2 minor daughters involved have already been through a lot publicly. We're going to be doing everything in our power to keep them anonymous and, of course, use just initials regardless of if their info is already all the way out there. It's also important to note that all the allegations regarding the Trevino family, especially Ash Trevino, are claims that Ashley herself has publicly admitted to or done on camera. though at the time of filming, no charges have been made or pressed against Ash Trevino. The only quote-unquote guilty parties would be the people mentioned who are previously incarcerated. Any and all opinions, commentary, and theories are netizen-based and not personal. We're just trying to report on all online sentiment and aspects surrounding this case. I will have to say that I embarked on this brain-rotting journey that is Ash Trevino's lore, believing that it was going to be an episode for my other podcast, Moral of the Story, which I'm going to link below. A lot of you guys have been messaging me that it's the perfect cleanser, if you will, almost for mental health after some of these recent RM cases. But the more that I started jumping into the rabbit holes of court documents of her boyfriends, two things occurred. I believe that she is a danger to her children and perhaps even society. And two, I feel like she has laid eggs in my brain. I feel like my IQ has dropped at least 10 points after listening to her live streams. So with that being said, let's get started. In the past few weeks, the internet has collectively band together to get a CPS case opened on a TikToker named Ash Trevino. Ash Trevino is, I want to say she is constantly live streaming. It's like being a CCTV camera on her phone, just a wall camera, a fly on the wall.
How old are her kids?
She is 36. She has two daughters that are 16 and 13. And she believes that the internet is unjustly trying to get them taken away from her. Ashley addresses this in a live stream saying, and y'all are really trying to get my kids taken away from me, and it's not going to happen. Do you know how many CPS cases I've had on me? In a previous live stream, she states it was in the ballpark of 20-something CPS cases. She says, in the last 4 months, and I still have custody of my kids. Like, you do understand that when you call CPS, you have to have actual proof that they're in an unfit condition, right? Like, you have to have actual proof that my kids are not being taken care of. You do understand that, right? Y'all do understand you have to have proof that my kids are in harm's way, my kids are this, my kids are that. Y'all really have to have proof. She's very confident. So here is the list of proof that netizens have gathered against Ash Trevino.
Did she just brag about she had 20 cases
Yes.
on her?
And nothing has happened. That's her biggest flex, biggest accomplishment, is evading CPS, falling through the cracks of CPS. In the state of Texas, one of the main things CPS workers are looking for is kitchen and food availability. The guidelines are along the lines of kitchen should have healthy, readily available food. CPS looks for balanced food options like fruits, vegetables, dairy, and proteins to ensure proper child nutrition, which some netizens are pointing out that it seems like the entirety of the food consumption that Ash eats. I mean, there are fitness gurus who have done 40-minute videos on Ash Trevino's diet, just critiquing the way she eats, is her main consumption is hot Cheeto and bean dip. Ashley does these massive grocery hauls that netizens have been dubbing the Red 40 haul. Red 40 after the chemical coloring. Because she will spend nearly $800 at the grocery store and just come home with different variations of hot Cheetos and sour candies, which I will say, not having access to healthy produce or fresh food is a big problem, especially in the state of this economy. And I don't think that netizens should dictate what other people eat or don't eat. But a few things. Ashley is a mother, and it's typically a natural want for parents to want to feed their kids fresh, healthy meals that are nutritious. But if she does not have the financial resources, that's one thing. But she is spending $700, $800 on chips and snacks during these grocery hauls. There is not a fresh leaf in sight.
$700? Like,
and she lets you know.
100 bags of chips?
Yeah, she'll read you the whole receipt. She'll show you the receipt. She loves showing people how much money she spends.
What?
Which naturally angers a lot of netizens. A lot of netizens feel like if I had $800 to blow on groceries in a single trip, I would get my kids everything fresh and nutritious. I would get them so many eggs. In another live stream, her kids are talking about how they want Ashley to make food for them tomorrow. And she's shocked. She's genuinely shocked on the live stream. She's eating McDonald's and she's like, oh, y'all want me to cook tomorrow? You want me to cook? She gives both of her kids a death glare. Like, they have asked her to sacrifice her life for a bag of tennis balls. Netizens point out they have never seen her daughters eat a home-cooked meal, ever. And they suspect that her two kids are probably suffering from a lack of nutrition. She also eats chips in a very interesting way, or at least a few times she has. She gets the chips in her hand, and she throws it back like she's taking a shot. And one comment reads, she's eating chips like she's taking a damn vitamin, and it's taking me out. But I guess one could argue, I mean, at least her kids are being fed, right? I guess. The next thing CPS looks for are appropriate sleeping arrangements. This is a big one. Infants need safe cribs, free of blankets and toys. Opposite sex children over 6 years old should typically have separate rooms, and bunk beds must have safety railings for younger children. When Ash is doing a live stream, she's showing off her apartment. She does a quick peek into her daughter's room. They share a room, 16 and 13, and netizens are very quick to point out, wait, is that a singular air mattress on the floor for both the girls to sleep in? Just a singular air mattress in the room for both of her daughters to share. When netizens start pointing that out, Ashley states that they're not staying with her, implying it's fine because they're only here once in a while. They're staying with her parents. And again, not being able to afford proper furniture for children is not something that parents should be ashamed of. It's very difficult to provide the necessities these days. But Ashley should be ashamed. She gives her daughters an air mattress, not because of her lack of funds. It is her gross misappropriation of those funds. It's estimated that on her live streams and gifts donations alone, she brings in around $1,000 to $2,000 in a singular day. $1,000 to $2,000 a day. She says the most she's ever brought in 2.5 hours was $12,000. She's constantly on TikTok lives doing these hauls. She shows off her new shoes. She's unboxing it. They're slippers. They're house slippers. And she says, these are not Temu. Trust me, I wish they were. And she opens up her Balenciaga slipper box and she's aggressively showing the Balenciaga tag to the camera. All my name brand stuff is actually name brand.
That is crazy. How much are those? Like $1,000?
Yeah.
Wow.
Even when she does a makeup haul, she's insufferable. She says, I only spent $395 at Ulta. I was just putting things in the bag. I wasn't even looking at the prices. I literally thought that I was going to spend $1,000, but no, I only spent like $400. She says things like, $3,000 is like dirt to me because I don't need it. It's trash, but if y'all need it, I'll throw it to you. She gets herself the newest iPhone in pink because, of course, Miss Ashley Trevino is a pretty little princess. She goes to purchase a Louis Vuitton purse, and I'm not entirely sure why she chooses this purse, but it's quite literally a carry-on bag. She just buys a giant-sized duffel bag, but uses it as a purse. And she just always has it like on the crook of her elbow. And she just starts carrying around a Louis Vuitton travel bag to the point where it has sparked a trend on TikTok where people say, I'm Ash Trevino and I'm showing you my outfit for the day. And they're hooking on literal suitcases to the crook of their elbows because it's just the most...
Is it like a tote bag or?
No, it's a duffel with the two short handles. Yeah, the Louis Vuitton duffels.
Actual duffel bag.
Yes, an actual duffel bag. It's like the size of her. Huh. She said she paid $3,000. I guess she paid that much to look ridiculous. There's also a clip of her where she's seen out shopping and she has this little Louis Vuitton bag. And it's not a purse, it's the actual shopping bag, indicating that she just got out of the store. And when she sees somebody recording her, she places it straight in front of her and starts swinging it around. It is the strangest thing. She says, I kid you not, I already bought 2 Louis purses over $6,000 within a month, couple weeks. Sunglasses from Louis, my apartment. I'm telling you, it's good money. She's talking about TikTok lives. She brags about spending $327 at the Cheesecake Factory for 2 people, which I will be real with you. The Cheesecake Factory is not cheap, but it's also not that expensive. That is crazy. Mm-hmm. But she can't afford beds for her kids? Her explanation to netizens, and I don't know if she's going to have a chance to explain this to CPS workers or if they're even going to ask, but I digress. She explains, I'm going to be honest with y'all because I know a lot of people say stuff about my kid's bed. I haven't bought them a bed because I didn't know if they were going to move in for sure. But now that I know that they fixed up their room, you see the LED lights, they fixed up their room. They brought their stuff back from my mom's house because they had their vanity stuff over there. So now everything's back. I'm going to buy them a bed for Christmas. But I don't know if I should get them bunk beds because they're older or one bed to share.
That's crazy.
Yeah. She says, additionally, this excuse is brought up that she's just not sure which bed to get them, and that's the reason that she's stalling from purchasing a bed. But she continues to spend so much money. She spends, I would assume, thousands of dollars every single week on DoorDash, Ubers, and Airbnbs, as well as alcohol.
Like she's living at different Airbnbs?
Yes, she just loves to go to different Airbnbs and just party with 19-year-olds that she meets on TikTok. This is a 36-year-old woman. This is oddly infuriating, but it's not just material goods that she's purchasing. At one point, Ashley leaves her kids at home to go to Disneyland. She lives in Texas, so she flies to Disney, which Disney adults, great, do your thing. But also, if you have children and you love Disney, I can't imagine not wanting to experience it with them. When netizens call her out on this, like, this is so weird. You've got 2 girls and you go to Disney by yourself? She says, I didn't take them to Disney. I've said this before because my kids do not fly. And they had school. They just started school a few weeks ago. I just couldn't take them, or else I would have, to be honest. I wanted to take them. I felt so bad, but I FaceTimed them the whole time that I was there. I was FaceTiming them, sending them a ton of pictures. I bought them a whole bunch of stuff. I was enjoying that with them.
What do you mean when she said that they don't fly?
They don't like to get on an airplane, which is not true. Her kids have TikTok accounts, and one of them debunked her, literally saying, I don't know why she said that. Like, I fly. Like, I'm not scared of airplanes. This is so weird. And also, if the reason that she doesn't take them is because of school, why doesn't she just take them when they're on break? It's not like she has to go Monday through Wednesday. She could go on the weekend or during spring break. But the bragging never ends. Ashley Trevino even casually brags about getting a BMW. She just is in a BMW one day. She's sitting there eating In-N-Out, live streaming, and she's showing her face. So she's sitting in the driver's seat eating In-N-Out, and she goes, y'all, I'm eating In-N-Out. And then she takes time to reverse the camera to show the steering wheel, and she said, okay, I got a BMW and it suits me. Sunroof, and it's nice. Like, it has an LED light over here and over here on the dash as well.
Did she buy a BMW or is she? Wow.
So clearly she can afford a bed. She also makes fun of her friends for flying Spirit while she flies first class. It is expected by CPS that parents provide a safe environment for their children. Interactions between family members are evaluated to identify nurturing relationships or potential signs of emotional or physical abuse. In another live stream, Ashley is on live while she's on the phone with her daughter. She asks her daughter, do you want lip fillers? Which her daughters, even if they were of age, they're 13 and 16. I wouldn't feel comfortable with my mom asking me that. I would feel pretty insecure. Her daughter responds, no, my lips are naturally big. They're not that big, baby. Okay, but they're big enough for me. They're not that big. Yes, they are. No, they're not. Why are you being a hater? Okay, let me see. She's FaceTiming her daughter and smirking on the camera at her own daughter's lips, and she's scoffing. Her daughter tells her, they look like the same size as yours. No, they don't. In a separate live stream, she's on FaceTime again with her daughter, and her daughter says, my nose is so perfect. Now, this is a little taken out of context, and I'll explain, but it has gone viral. Ashley says, no, your nose is not perfect. Well, your nose ain't perfect either. Bye. And she rolls her eyes and hangs up the FaceTime on her daughter. Now, to be fair, this is because her daughter did get a nose piercing, and this is the FaceTime where she reveals it to her mom. So she does have some right, I guess, to be angry, but not really, because she's not mothering them well anyway, regardless. But netizens don't think that makes this any better. This is the same woman that on live stream, she called her own 2 daughters slurs while laughing.
Such as?
Slurs targeted towards the Mexican community. In another clip, she's talking to her kids and they're arguing. I have an A+ in every class. No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you're not. You're not. You're probably barely going to pass anyway, literally. To which comments read, who needs enemies when you have a mom like Ash Trevino? But it's not even just the emotional abuse, because there are so many different pillars on how you take care of children. You can't even just physically provide the necessities. You have to emotionally be there and physically be there for them. Her younger daughter, E, has to go to the hospital one day, and they already made it back home. She's on live stream, and Ashley, instead of taking her, jumps on another TikTok live and says, guys, this is my sickly baby. That's the one that I have to go take to the hospital and go get tested in a couple weeks. I'm not going to explain nothing else because she doesn't want me to. Mere minutes later, I don't even think 10 minutes have passed. She says, if y'all want me to tell you about my baby girl's health, go ahead and send the galaxies. Galaxies being $15 donations on TikTok, because there's tiers to the donations. She's willing to sell her daughter's medical history for the highest bidder. In another moment that might end up in a CPS file somewhere, Ashley's live streaming. She's walking into her room dancing to her song called Nunu. We're going to get into that. One of her daughters is throwing up in the hallway. She tells her mom, I just threw up. You just threw up? Why? I don't know. I just threw up. You're lying. She turns around and keeps dancing. Her child asks her, Mom, I just threw up. Why are you dancing? Why are you dancing? Her other daughter screams, she's still dancing? Yes, Alexa, stop the music. The music stops and Ashley starts touching her hair. Bro, I was jamming. Mom, what? Netizens are commenting. The fact that her first instinct is to accuse her of lying? She treats her daughters like they're just roommates in their own home, like there's no relationship between them. For Thanksgiving, for example, Ashley drives her kids. The netizens are compiling on Reddit all the things that they want to send to CPS. They're like mass reporting her to CPS. For Thanksgiving, Ashley drives her kids 8 hours to El Paso, Texas, where she's going to stay with who she calls her tia. Tia meaning auntie in Spanish. But this is not Ashley's auntie. This is not the kids' tia. This is a random person that Ashley has met on the internet that she calls auntie. She's not been invited to her own parents' Thanksgiving, so she's going to a random person that she met online to her home, bringing her kids all the way to El Paso, Texas on Thanksgiving, leaving them sick and alone in the Airbnb. She's like, go order DoorDash for Thanksgiving. I'm going to go get drunk at the bars. And she's live streaming all of this.
Wait, I'm so sorry. It's Thanksgiving. They're going to this stranger's house.
Yeah, and then so she rented an Airbnb in El Paso, Texas, and she goes to El Paso to meet up with her auntie that is a stranger that she meets online. She brings her kids, throws them into the Airbnb, and is like, here, order DoorDash because I'm about to go out with the auntie that I met on TikTok and a bunch of her friends.
Oh.
On Thanksgiving, she's like, just order whatever you want. But it's already not a good look, but it gets worse. While she's posting in El Paso, because she does not understand that live streaming does not mean that you have to stream the entirety of your life, she starts posting about being in El Paso. Another creator on TikTok sees this and posts a TikTok where she is tying her hair up into a messy bun, and she says, when you find out Ashley Trevino is in El Paso, indicating she's trying to fight Ashley Trevino. Ash, a full mother of 2, starts mocking the creator on her live stream. She's all like, when you find out Ash Trevino is in El Paso, I'm in El Paso and I'll fuck your baby daddy. She proceeds to tell the girl, then pull up then, and gives out the very specific bar that she will be visiting later that night. She begs the creator to pull up because the creator is GHETTO and they're in the rich neighborhood and the cops are going to take care of her. Ashley is live streaming at the bar and I'm not entirely sure why she looks so surprised when the creator that she has been taunting the entire night does indeed show up to the bar. Since she's pretty much given out her GPS coordinates and everything, she's just sitting there while the other creator is saying, you asked me to pull up, and now you don't want to say anything, you asked me to pull up. The situation escalates to some mediocre hair pulling before everybody is kicked out of the establishment. The other creator goes on live to talk about what happened, and she says, this is me. I was like, so you tell me to pull up, and Ash starts getting up. So I went and I fucking grabbed her hair. I snatched that bitch. Bro, tell me why her hair feels like fucking grass, bro. I fucking grabbed it and it ripped off. Ash is later live streaming, brushing her hair with her fingers, saying, I don't even have my bobby pin anymore. I think she took it. I really do think she took it like for an autograph or something because I don't have it anymore. You would have thought like a bitch that didn't like me was gonna fucking swing. She would have swung at the bitch, okay? This bitch pulls my fucking hair. Like it's the first reaction this bitch does. And I'm like, she pulled my hair. And this bitch was fat as fuck. This bitch was really fat. She's saying all of this in the car while the stranger that she met on TikTok, the auntie, is driving. But now, to some extent, this auntie is intoxicated. They were live streaming in the bar where viewers clearly see her drinking. So now the drinking and driving is being live documented. When they get back to the auntie's house, the kids end up coming there, and E, the younger daughter, is not feeling well. She feels sick. She wants to throw up. On top of that, she's likely stressed and freaking out, or at least anxious about the bar fight that Ashley got into, because she tells Ashley, I saw the video of what happened at the bar. Like I was watching the live. And if you're wondering, how do I know all of this? It's because Ashley is still live streaming right now at the auntie's house. And when they're at the tia's house, when the night is over, Tia's ex-boyfriend and his new girlfriend come over and a whole fight breaks out. Ashley is live streaming. You can't see too much. The cameraman is not doing their job because they're in the middle of the fight. Eventually, Ashley decides to call the police, but she's still live streaming. She does not turn it off. She does not mute her phone. She goes on to tell the police that they need to hurry and come, and here is the address. She says her auntie's full residential home address on the live stream. She doxes this auntie's place of residence, but also the place that she brought her children to. The police leave, and the auntie and all of them go back to Ashley's rented Airbnb because they don't feel safe there anymore. Which, side note, this is actually where a viral TikTok clip is formed. Ash Trevino calls her private parts her nunu. And she has this whole song about it. And people have this running joke that her nunu, her private spots, are quite smelly. They don't smell good. And there's this one clip that's been taken out of context.
Why does she call it nunu?
I have no clue.
Okay.
Yeah. And she's asking her auntie, does it smell? Yeah, does it smell? Does it smell? Does it smell in there? Does it smell? Does it smell? Does it smell? Did it smell? Did it smell? And she's asking her like 10 times while she's on live stream. Now, the context of this is she was vaping in the bathroom and she didn't want her kids to know that she was vaping in the bathroom. But that doesn't even make sense because they're in a different live. She was caught giving her kids her vape to use.
What?
So I don't know why she's asking if it smelled, if she was insinuating something else and then was trying to cover it up with this whole vape story. But it's become this whole internet meme with a life of its own of, did it smell? Did it smell? Did it smell? No, but did it smell? So the group of them, they're now back at Ashley's Airbnb and the daughters are there. Ashley is live streaming and she's standing there chowing down on fries. And you just hear the auntie talking to her because a physical fight broke out to, I don't know the extent, but it seems like to some extent there was domestic violence. This is the auntie's ex-boyfriend that came and a physical altercation took place between him and the auntie. And the auntie, she's dry heaving because it's pretty clear that from the perspective of the live stream, she was harmed physically to some level. She tells Ashley, I don't know how much abuse I told you about, but I never told my daughter about it. It is so ridiculous because Ashley continues chowing down on the fries that someone even comments, and back to the food we go. The El Paso incident, it becomes dubbed that in the Ash Trevino lore, is just this incredibly idiotic and unsafe situation. The drinking and driving, obviously, but also the fact that Ashley is egging a stranger to come and fight her, even though her kids are in town. She doxes her auntie. She confronts the stranger at the bar. I mean, there's so much going on and it's just flat out dumb. But the most mind-numbing thing, the most mind-numbing part of all of this is this isn't even the first time that somebody pulls up to fight Ashley. She has been through this whole rodeo before. Ashley has started getting herself into altercations with other TikTokers, one of them being a creator by the name of Tampa Bay, who has taken the initiative to create a GoFundMe to support her travel fees to go to Ashley's home to physically assault her and pull up, which I like to mind my own business most of the time. I don't know the first thing about Tampa Bay, but I do know that Ashley should understand that whatever she is doing online is going to come back to her kids. There are creators out there that are wanting to find Ashley's home and confront her home where her kids often stay. It's a dangerous situation overall. Ashley would even tell Tampa Bay, pull up to my house then, pull up. Tampa Bay does in fact pull up. Thankfully, the kids are fine. Well, fine in that situation. But Ashley has repeatedly doxed her home address with no regard for her kids' safety. There have been incidents where the children, have noticed strange cars driving around, scoping out their house, and naturally they get very concerned, they get very anxious, very worried. They call the police. The two daughters and Ashley are home. Ashley is home. The guardian is home. The police arrive. They have to take a report. Ashley lets her two girls talk to the police officer while she stands there, pointing her finger in the air, holding up her phone. She's in the midst of a very intense, cutthroat TikTok battle. This is how she signals donate, donate. So TikTok battles, you see the lifeline go up and you're trying to get donations to beat the other creator. You have to keep doing some tapping motion to indicate like donate, donate, donate. This is her favorite thing, to tap in the air. And that means donate to me, donate to me. And she's tapping. I mean, nothing, not even her safety, her children's safety is going to get in the way of her getting those freaking galaxies. She goes out to the front to get a view of the cop car. She's showing this in the back, the officer, and she's whispering, double it, double it, double it, double it, double it, double it. Come on, double it, double it, double it.
Is she whispering or?
Yeah, but I'm sure the officer can hear her.
What the fuck?
Yeah. In another clip, she tells the live that her daughter has a burn, and she asks, what can I put on their burn? She's on the phone with her friend who says, I really think you should take your daughter to urgent care if it's bad. Can you send me a picture of it? Ugh, then I'm gonna have to get a freaking Uber. Okay, just because you have to get an Uber doesn't mean you shouldn't take her to the freaking urgent care. I know, but I have to get up early tomorrow. So now she is physically neglecting her children as well. But it does get worse. When one is watching an Ash Trevino live stream, there's always one thing that gets brought up, used, seen, just peeking from the side somewhere like a little stalker, and it's her adult device, specifically one that is shaped like a rose. I'm just going to call it the rose, the haunted rose. And when she is confronted with the fact that she just has him laying around in a home where she has a 13 and 16-year-old daughter, I mean, why? Why not put it in a drawer like a normal person? She's asked on live, why do people support you when you have toys in front of your minor kids? And she screams, do they fucking use them? They still touch them, asking, what should we name these? So to give you some context, there was an incident that this creator is referring to from a separate live stream. She's charging the haunted rose. And I guess one of her kids spots it and is like, what is this that's charging? And Ashley screams at them, can you leave my rose alone? Shit, can you leave my rose alone? She needs me in a little bit. And the daughter asks, what's her name? Who? The rose, what's her name? Oh, I haven't named her yet. What should we name her? We should name her H. She says her name. Her own name. The daughter says her own name because she's 16. She doesn't know what's going on. And the mom says, ew, I don't want to name her that. Ashley just has this strange belief that is so untethered from reality that if she says something during a live stream, it just goes floating into the ether. It can never be used against her. She admits to her viewers on live that she used to have this crazy animosity towards her eldest daughter. She says she didn't even like the fact that her children's father always paid more attention to their daughter than to her.
That is wild.
Because it's a little child that needs a lot of attention and care to fully develop into a functioning human being, and that is the responsibility of both parents. But to Ashley, this is rather unacceptable. One of the 7 deadly sins, if you ask her. She claims that she would get so upset that she would grab her daughter H by the hair and yank her to the ground. And she's saying all of this proudly. She says H has been through the bottom of her life. I'm telling you, whenever we lived with her dad, I used to pull her by the hair because I was so mad at her. I feel like he loved her more than he loved me. So I took my anger out on her, and she doesn't even hate me for that. She doesn't even remember that. She was little. I didn't know that was not the way to treat your daughter. Netizens are threatening, if not already dialing CPS on Ashley for that clip alone. They're commenting about how crazy this is that she's jealous of her own child. Ashley decides to then further address the situation on a separate live stream, clarifying. By the way, she's doing her makeup while clarifying this very serious allegation, and the beauty blender she is using is the biggest makeup sponge I've ever seen with my own 2 eyes. It's the size of a dish sponge. But that's neither here nor there. She continues, she states, was I hit as a kid? Yes. I was always hit as a kid. That's why I wouldn't hit my kids. I never abused my daughter, you guys. What I said was I would get mad at her. Yes, I would. I pulled her hair. Yeah, but I never abused her. I never hit my kids, you guys. That's one thing y'all need to understand. The only reason that I pulled her hair was because she ran from me and I tried to grab her, and instead I grabbed her hair. I never abused my kids. I never hit my kids. If you ask my kids if I hit them, I don't hit them. That's why they don't listen to me. And this was when she was little. This was a long time ago. I don't care. Y'all can sit there and call me an abuser, call me what you want. But at the end of the day, my kids know I never abuse them. They never have bruises on them. If anything, I bribe my kids with money. But then on a separate live stream, she'll also admit that she almost went to jail. She says, how did the glass break? So I'm implying, I'm deducing that there was some broken glass and everybody was asking her about it. She said, I threw the glass. I broke my phone too. My phone's broke right now. 2 days ago, me and my daughter got into it and she threw a chair at me and my leg is bruised. She put her hands on me and I already told her, stop putting your fucking hands on me, bro. This is not the first time she's done that. We can somewhat decipher that she threw her phone and some sort of glass object. And she does even more alarming stuff. These are all the things that people are trying to report to CPS. Ashley is on the phone with a romantic interest of hers. He's on speakerphone and Ashley has her daughter right next to her. The guy asks her, "Can I ask you a question? Can I take you to my crib?" "Sure, go ahead. Just don't take advantage of my daughter." The guy literally goes, "Just don't make me a grandma and take advantage of my daughter."
What?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
It just reminds me very much of Jennifer Soto.
Yeah.
Why are you even saying that? Why are you bringing up Woody Allen right now?
Yeah.
Later on a live stream, she says, "It's like one of my kids. She meets a guy. She likes him. Hypothetically, this is what she's saying hypothetically. She wants to do something. The guy asks her, 'How old are you?' She says, 'I'm 18. I'm 17. She's 15 at this point. Guy believes it. And then I find out, honestly, if I find out my daughter's doing something, I'm not going to sit there and call the cops. I was her age once. I was doing it, so.
Wow.
But the alarming stuff comes in by the types of people that she decides to surround herself and indirectly put in her daughter's paths. She goes on a live stream to talk about writing to Chris Watts, the infamous killer who killed his wife and his 2 kids. Her friend tells her that he's evil, that he killed his wife and kids. And Ashley responds, "Well, maybe he killed his wife because he's not happy."
Here we go.
And said that the episode on Chris Watts on some sort of crime show made her fall asleep.
What does that imply? Like,
It is just rude. What do you mean? 3 people lost their lives and you're falling asleep on the couch? Just turn it off. Why are you saying this? What's happening right now? Do you know what an inmate hopper is? It's someone who likes to date inmates and will jump from one inmate to another. Typically, I would imagine they themselves are not an inmate, so instead of on Hinge, they're exclusively finding romantic partners on writeaprisoner.com. And Ashley Trevino gets known on TikTok for being an inmate hopper. But it really all starts with this very awkward moment when she live streams herself picking up her boyfriend of 9 months from jail while he's being released.
wait, is this the one that happened?
No, that was a separate person who likes to sleep with inmates when they get out, or she slept with one inmate and it was connected to Wade Wilson because she was like, "Wade Wilson, hi," and then recovered.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
Okay.
a thing. It's
Okay.
a thing, yes. She brings him to this hotel room. There's a giant heart on the hotel bed made out of roses. She has a whole snack basket picked out for him, and he's just walking in, and the whole live stream is uncomfortably awkward. He's ignoring her. He doesn't seem excited to be there. He doesn't even look excited to be a free man. It almost appears by some netizens' perspectives that the prospect of him getting into bed with Ashley Trevino, he'd rather go back into his cell. And the energy, the visuals are just off, and people are commenting. I remember when my ex came out of jail, he literally could not stop touching me nonstop. He would not stop holding me. He would not stop paying attention to me. Jesse showed no interest in her. This is so sad. It is pretty clear that Jesse was likely using her for commissary funds when he was in prison. Even when they live stream together, he looks like he wants to keep a safe 6 feet social distancing space between them. But before you even feel a tiny modicum of sympathy for Ashley, she also gets upset when Jesse wants to see his own children because she doesn't want his child's mother in his life. Within 3 days of Jesse being out, she's calling him her husband. People are confronting her about the fact that he has his child's mother's face tattooed on him, and they tell her, "Hey, are you not upset?" They're just trying to start drama. Okay, they're egging her on, the netizens. They're like, "Are you not upset? You don't want your face tattooed on Jesse?" And she gets very defensive. "I'm good. I don't need a tattoo to symbolize what I am to my husband. As long as I know where I stand with my husband, we're fine." But she gets his TikTok handle tattooed on her. Not even his name, the TikTok handle. Like, at Rotten Mango, imagine you tattooing that.
Wait, she tattooed it on her body?
Yes, his TikTok handle.
What?
The relationship lasts somewhere in the ballpark of 8 business days before Ashley is on live stream ranting, clapping her hands as if we are the ones to blame for this. She says, and that's what irritates me. Y'all think you know him? Y'all don't, bro. I was with him for 9 months, holding him down, and he's talked so much crap about me. The tears that I have to hold back when I see him. Look, he's requesting again to be in my live stream. He's requesting again. Jesse is not a nice person. Jesse is a really mean, ugly person. Y'all don't know what I've had to endure the last 2 weeks, okay? I'm not wanting to bash him. He's not a nice person. Jesse let all these females make him feel like he was just the luckiest man out there. He was just using me for clout because without Ashley, Jesse is not nothing. Without Ashley, there is no Jesse. I made Jesse. She's 36. Later in a video, she responds, why did you guys break up? So she's like reading the comments. Why did you guys break up? Because of social media. A lot of females were in his inbox. I just didn't have the trust. I would tell him I wish he was back in prison because I trusted him in prison because nobody knew who he was. Nobody was writing to him. He wasn't calling them. You know, when he came out, I let him have social media. I gave him a little cheap phone. I told him, make a TikTok. I said, make a TikTok, babe. And that was my biggest mistake, was to let him get involved in the social media life.
How many followers does she have?
It's hard to say because she keeps getting her accounts deleted.
Really?
Yeah, I think she's like on her 6th account.
Because of like...
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, because she'll
People
just...
report her and...
Yeah, and then she'll just completely flash her entire bare chest on a live stream on TikTok.
Huh.
There are also some very strange moments in this whole relationship saga with Jesse. Ashley goes on live where her daughters are her moderators. I don't know if they were her moderators for every single live, but the fact that they are her moderators and they have frequently said like, mom, don't do this. Mom, don't say this. They'll come into the room sometimes while she's live streaming to say, stop doing this. So it's pretty clear that they know what she's doing on live. Mm-hmm. They're watching. She states, to be honest, you guys, it's just going to give Jesse more clout. Just kidding. He has an 8-inch. He hurt me. Like, he hurt me. I felt it all the way in my belly button, and I was like in tears crying. She goes into graphic detail describing the width, I guess. In a separate live, she's asked, was there passion? To be honest, yeah. It's crazy though, because for like 2 weeks, it was still good after the second week. The first day we did it like 5 or 6 times. I can't even remember. Maybe a little more. The first day, the first weekend was pretty wild. I would tell him like, it hurts everywhere, everything. And then she would just nod, licking her lips. And every single time we didn't use protection and he never pulled out. Meanwhile, Jesse is on a separate live stream where he claims that he had to put a blanket to cover Ashley Trevino's entire body and face because he could not get excited for activities without that.
You're kidding me.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
That's crazy.
The top comments are, mind you, this is my phone. Mind you, I just woke up. Soon after their breakup, Ashley starts hinting at the fact that she might be pregnant. And hinting is a severe understatement. She might as well have tattooed it on her, potentially pregnant. She tells her viewers, I was ovulating the day after, or the day he came home. You want to be my baby daddy? I was like, no. I already told Jesse that if I'm pregnant, I said, look, if I'm pregnant, because I told him that I should start my period in 3 days. And he's like, what are you telling me? And I said, I don't know. I'm just saying I start my period in like 3 days. He's like, what are you telling me? And I was like, no, I'm just saying, just in case like, something happens and I'm pregnant, I don't need you to be there for me. I can raise this baby on my own. I've raised 2 of them on my own. I don't need you to be here to raise my baby. I don't want him to have any updates or anything if I'm pregnant, but we'll find out. I raised 2 of them on my own, so. People were so confused by this. People started putting the dates together, and Ashley's digital footprint has likely accelerated climate change by at least 24 months. She is live streaming every single waking moment of her day, which is not a great thing to do if you don't want to get caught in your own lies. People are running through the timelines to point out, wait, if she was pregnant, then she had her period on this date, then she would have known that she was pregnant if she missed her period. But those days that she would have known that she was pregnant or potentially pregnant, she was just drinking and live streaming all the time. When she's confronted with this, netizens are very upset because that's a very serious thing to do, is drink while potentially pregnant. And she says she's drinking because she's not 1,000% confident that she's pregnant when you can just take a pregnancy test. She says that she merely has a suspicion that she's pregnant, but she didn't take a test yet. It is the very accurate, very true intellectual theory that if you don't know, it does not exist. She says, once I find out for sure that I'm pregnant, I'm not drinking. I am off of it for 9 months. But she's also very upset that her viewers care about her drinking alcohol and potentially being pregnant. She says, I'm not going to answer yes or no if I'm pregnant. That's not what I'm going to do. You're going to have to wait. Y'all are not nobody important to me. So for me to just sit here and say, no, I'm not pregnant. Yes, I'm pregnant. Y'all are not important to me. I don't even know you. Very quickly, the newfound pregnancy becomes Ashley's entire personality. She streams, y'all, I have never been so scared to bring a baby into this world. Because when I brought them to, I was with their dad. Me and their dad were married each time. They were planned. This one was planned too, but I'm not with Jessie no more, and I'm scared. I'm scared.
Wait, is she pregnant or?
We don't know.
She's just like crying about it.
Yeah. In another live stream, though, she complains, today my back has been killing the fuck out of me. Like I totally said, girl, I feel like I'm about to start my period, and I just got off my period. And everyone's like, how would you just get off your period if you're potentially pregnant? Eventually, the story becomes too ridiculous to sell. I mean, at some point, even the trees in your backyard are going to start putting 2 and 2 together, like none of this is making any sense. And ultimately, she addresses the pregnancy situation by saying, were you ever pregnant? Yes, unfortunately, I was. But the stress gets to you. So unfortunately, I was. And I was very sad, but I was happy at the same time. Hinting at the fact that she suffered from a miscarriage from the stress. The comments read, she reminds me of one of those high school girls that would say that they're pregnant for attention and then end up, quote, losing the baby. But later on, Jessie explains in a live stream that Ashley terminated the pregnancy, or at least that's what he thought, that she did not suffer from a miscarriage. To which Ashley responds on live, nobody was supposed to know that I had an abortion. But I did, because I didn't want to have his baby. I absolutely believe in my freedom of choice as a woman, but I think the difference between having it be a choice versus having a miscarriage are completely separate things, especially in this situation. She originally claimed that she lost her baby due to stress, and that is not a choice. Netizens were obviously sympathizing with her after that, and even had she said, I made the choice to do this because I don't think I'm going to be a fit parent to a newborn right now, I mean, I guess it depends on everybody's beliefs, but I think that's perfectly normal. But netizens were obviously sympathizing with her, donating so much more to her because they thought that she had suffered this very traumatic thing that a lot of netizens can relate to. But it was a lie. In another clip, she says, he's just mad because I aborted our baby. I never wanted to have his kid anyway. What makes this even worse is the fact that in a separate live stream, this is when she was telling the whole world and everybody's mother that she might be pregnant. She says, if I'm pregnant, I'm keeping the baby. I already told my kids. I told them, there's a possibility. So she's getting her minor children emotionally and potentially just mentally involved in this. Mm-hmm. With Jessie's relationship with Ash Trevino, that's where she really starts gaining a lot of TikTok fame. But people find out this is not her first relationship with an inmate. In fact, there was a previous one that she documented heavily through Instagram by the name of Isaiah Gonzalez. This was her previous husband that was in prison, and she'd introduced her children to them. She had brought her 2 very young daughters. At this point, the eldest was about 10 years old when she brings them to prison to meet this prisoner that she has now decided to marry.
How do we know about this?
She has documented it all over Instagram and then slowly starts talking about it on live. So through her Instagram, we find out that she's posting pictures of the girls visiting Isaiah Gonzalez. And she writes, we had a great visit today and so blessed that both of our girls were able to go see daddy. Now, this is the part that is so sick and twisted. This is not the girl's biological father, but she almost convinces them, or maybe she's telling them to call him daddy, or is convincing them that this is their new daddy. I don't know. She writes, you can see the happiness on his face. Our first family picture, only one more glass visit until he gets to hug us all, which I'm not sure you should be taking your children to prison to hug random inmates, but she even introduces Isaiah as the youngest's daddy to the world. She keeps doing this. She's saying, this is E's daddy. But he's not. He's not biologically her dad. He's not her dad anything. She posts more pictures of them meeting in prison. They're holding up hand hearts. She's hashtagging it Going Gonzalez because she's trying to marry him and his last name is Gonzalez. And like, ma'am, this is not a reality show. She'll hashtag Love on Lockdown. My heart is in Iowa Park, which is where his prison is located. But should her heart not be at home with her own 2 children? She posts another one where Isaiah is holding E, her youngest daughter, in his arms, physically, during visitation. She captions it, "Today we had the best visit with my husband and her daddy. It's always hard leaving him behind." Again, this is not E's biological father, let alone her daddy, her dad. This is just some random inmate. Love all the time we get with him, and his smile says it all. Just a daddy and his baby girl. It's sad when she runs back for one more hug before we leave, but their bond is unbreakable. I do want to preface this by saying, I think with the way America likes to incarcerate people for just pretty much everything. There are people in prison for possessing weed. There are people in jail for allegedly being involved in an incident involving the United Healthcare CEO. There are a lot of reasons that people are incarcerated that a lot of people might not necessarily think they should be incarcerated for. I think that for a lot of inmates, having a strong support system outside of prison waiting for them when they get out, it does help rehabilitate them. Again, I'm talking for drug possession charges, things of that nature, health insurance fraud related charges involving massive healthcare companies, things of that nature. I think it's important for these people to have support, and I have a lot of respect for their partners and families that give them that while they're still being part of society and having to deal with the stigma of having a loved one in prison. However, finding inmates to date because you like the idea of being a prison wife is beyond my level of comprehension. Ashley posts on Instagram, August of 2019. She posts 2 pictures captioning, "Life had us in different paths, but just know he makes me happy and he asked me to marry him and I said yes. I'm future Mrs. Gonzalez." She goes on this whole rant. For those of y'all that know, y'all know, LOL. And for those of who don't know, now y'all do. People are going to judge us, but like we say, screw what y'all think. I have been here for him and plan to continue that throughout his entire journey that God has given us. Yes, he is away from me, but these years will go by so fast and I can't wait to become Mrs. Gonzalez. If y'all don't like us being together, then feel free to delete me, but he wanted me to let everybody know that he is mine and I am his. And for those of y'all that don't know, he asked me to marry him and got the blessings we needed to move forward with that. By the way, don't let those hate letters think it's going to stop us. Soon, being a prison wife becomes her whole DNA profile. She posts, "I'm a prison wife. My relationship is based on letters, time-restricted phone calls and visits that are few and far between. I'm judged for staying with a man that I could never imagine leaving. I go to bed alone every night and hold it down on the outside while he comes home. I never know when he'll be involved in a riot or moved far away from me. Despite all of this, he is worth the wait."
So do we know what was his...
We're about to get there.
Okay.
Yeah. She shows off sending 120 pictures, which I can only imagine they're X-rated pictures. She likes to say things like, being a prison wife is expensive. And I'm realizing that now because not only do I have my own bills, I still help him. He doesn't ask me for money though. It's just one thing that if I do, it's because I want to. I feel like it's my responsibility as a prison wife. Which, side note, a lot of inmates have stated that when it comes to picking a pen pal, if they have a choice, they do not go for the girls that are aesthetically conventionally the most attractive. They will go for the ones that they believe are the most desperate, the one that is craving a compliment, dying for attention, because that is who is going to put money in their commissary. It's like a job. You want minimum effort, maximum financial reward. They sit there, write letters. It takes time, but the inmates have time and they get taken care of through financial ways.
I don't think Ash Treviro will agree with this sentiment.
Yeah, she might think that she is the love of their life, the apple to their eyes. They're all peas in a pod. And if you send pictures, like Ash Trevino has sent 120 plus pictures in one go to be exact, they will 99% of the time pass around those pictures. It is said that they have no respect for any of these. I mean, maybe if an inmate was with their partner before going to jail, they perhaps don't want to share those pictures, but they will pass around pictures. But Ashley is in love. She posts wedding pictures with Isaiah Gonzalez, which are just pictures by herself, holding his picture because he's incarcerated. They're not going to let him out and take furlough to take wedding pics. So it's just her in the middle of the road, a literal road, wearing a black dress and a white flower crown, writing, "There is going to be a long road ahead of us in this journey, but with God, we will get through it. Right here in these pics, I'm walking that road alone." Hence why she's on the road. And to give her some credit, the road is empty. I'm walking that road alone, but even though he wasn't there physically, he's still here with me in this pic. This life isn't for everyone, but it is for me. Hashtag Mrs. Gonzalez. Hashtag my life is behind those walls. This is where things start to escalate. On a live stream, Ashley is telling the story of how she first met Isaiah because people start bringing it up. They're like, okay, so Jesse was not your first prison boyfriend, your first inmate boyfriend. So who is Isaiah that we found on your Instagram? And she says, well, everyone's wondering why this has happened. Oh, by the way, it is speculated that for all of her prison boyfriends, she's met some of them through Write a Prisoner, websites where you can see pictures of prisoners and decide if you want to be their pen pal or not. But those who know how the prison system works, they speculate that she is pretty well known in certain prisons, that she will talk to an inmate. They will recommend her to other fellow inmates. They'll say, hey, talk to this girl because she's going to put some money in your commissary. And she, for the lack of better phrasing, gets passed around, as in her number and contact information gets passed around to other inmates. But with Isaiah, she says, I actually knew him before he went to prison. She says, my prison life started in 2019. I reconnected with an old childhood friend. Okay. She says, okay, a lot. She also says just kidding a lot when she's definitely not just kidding. We wrote snail mail letters. Then I set the phone up for this man. On our first phone call, he asked me to marry him. I liked him, so I said yes, and I've known him for years. So after 10 years of not seeing each other, he puts me on his visitation list. I drive almost 3 hours, and then we start the marriage process. We get married in November of 2019, but mind you, I was visiting this man every weekend up until 2020. Then COVID hits, they shut down visitations. Yeah, he's 6 years younger than me. I met him when I was like 15, so he had to have been like 9 when I first met him. They used to go to our church. I remember telling his mom, because I always thought he was a cute little boy, but I was older and I was already, dating the kid's dad, so I couldn't be with him, A 9-year-old.
Wait, she said I was dating the kid's dad?
Yeah, they were high school sweethearts. So she was dating someone age appropriate because she's 15. He was like 15, I think. He was around the same age as her. And she was interested in a 9-year-old boy. Oh. Yeah, which is very alarming.
Wait, I'm so sorry. What is dad? Someone's dad mean?
The kid's dad. So she has 2 daughters. Their biological father is her high school sweetheart.
Got it.
That she started dating when she was 15. But she's saying, when I was 15, I was dating the kid's father. My kid's father, not his dad, but he was 9 and I couldn't be with him, And she says, once I got married, I used to always tell his mom. She used to tell Isaiah's mom, because he grew up quick. I would tell his mom, like, I'm going to be your daughter-in-law one day. And she's like, no, you're not. My son is too young for you. And then in 2019, I reconnected with her son.
In prison.
Yeah. Which is incredibly creepy, but she clarifies, okay, Isaiah was a minor when we first met, but I didn't date him when he was a minor. I'm not sure how she thought that sentence would help her case. Nevertheless, she gets 3 tattoos of Isaiah on her. One of their wedding date on her finger, Isaiah on one wrist, Gonzalez on the other wrist, and these tattoos are huge. It would be more inconspicuous for her to wear 5 Apple Watches on one hand. It's that aggressively noticeable.
Like on top or bottom?
On top, and it's just like massive cursive. The whole wrist. And within 5 months, she announces her divorce. But one thing that has always gotten to people is that Ashley explains that Isaiah went into prison at 15 and he won't be eligible for parole until 2032. And if he doesn't get parole, he's not going to be released until 2055. So people are like, that's a very long time for a 15-year-old to get sentenced. 40 years for a 15-year-old to get sentenced. Whatever he did must be really bad because he was 15. So they start looking into his criminal history. 1 count of aggravated robbery, 1 count arson, and 1 count of murder. Sentenced to 45 years in prison. When Isaiah was 15 years old, he was involved in a very, very well, meticulously planned robbery that ends in a man's murder. His friend Ruben was working at an Exxon gas station when Muhammad, his boss, decides he's going to go make a night bank deposit. He's going to take cash from the gas station and deposit it at the bank. Ruben texts his friends, 2 other people and Isaiah, so 3 people. They're in a car waiting for Muhammad. They catch him on the road and they stop him. They rob him of all his cash. They know exactly which route he takes, which bank he was going to, how much he has. This is all a very well thought out plan, meticulously done. They pull up to stop him and one of the friends ends up shooting him. They kill him. They drag his body into the woods. They set Muhammad's car on fire and they leave. Eric is the one who fired the shots. He takes $4,000. Isaiah takes home $1,000 from this robbery. And they promptly spend it on cocaine whilst bragging to everybody about killing Muhammad. Muhammad has a wife and 7 kids. He has 6 daughters and a son. But sure, I guess that's hilarious. How is that hilarious?
Wait, why would it be hilarious?
They're laughing, bragging
laughing?
about it. The killers. To everyone they know. They just think it's so funny. He was sentenced to 45 years in prison in 2011. Sure, he was 15. But I mean, we all knew better at 15. This is not a situation where I don't think anyone can confidently say he was so young, he didn't know what he was doing, unless you're Ashley Trevino. But Ashley is posting on Instagram a word vomit collage. Second look Saturday. Meet Isaiah. He was given a 45-year sentence at 16 years old. Over the past 10 years, he earned his GED, OSHA, Electrical Level 1, Construction Craft Skills, Construction Site Safety Corps, all level certifications. In that period, he has also gotten married and become a wonderful stepdad to 2 beautiful daughters. He loves spending every weekend with his family during visitation at the All Red unit. He is involved in working as a supply clerk. Isaiah is also a talented artist who wants to continue his craft by opening up his own business once he returns to the free world. Isaiah plans on pursuing additional collegiate degrees. Isaiah believes that God will bring him home sooner than his release date. Isaiah is ready for the day when he can be given a second look. She posts, "So blessed my husband was chosen to be the second look person today. Let's pray we can bring him home soon. I will continue to do what's needed for him as a wife and will always be his voice. Love my husband so much. Hashtag let's bring him home. Hashtag proud prison wife. Hashtag my husband's biggest supporter." He's a killer. The worst part is Ashley is very proud of all of this. She TikTok live battles with someone talking about her inmate hopping ways, and the other creator says, "That is a lot. How many inmates have you been with? Like 26, you said?" It's like 30 now. And she's nodding and smiling like it's something that everyone should do. And they ask her, "Let me ask you a question. Why do you prefer inmates?" I prefer inmates because I feel like if you're gonna get hurt, it's better to get hurt while they're incarcerated than out here in the free world. Because like I just said earlier, my ex Jesse, when he actually left and we broke up, that one hurt. I still feel hurt to this day. She likes the fact that they have no options.
Yeah.
In another creator battle, she straight up asks the other creator, "You haven't heard Ashley the inmate hopper?" I actually married someone who was incarcerated in 2019. We actually knew each other from out here though, and he's actually younger than me. So we reconnected. I became his prison wife, and that's where I met a lot of people that I talk to still. And it just went from there. When we separated, I went with another one and it just went on. Okay, let me ask you, have you ever been with somebody that's not incarcerated? Besides the father to your children, which they're broken up, clearly. And she's shaking her head no. It just doesn't pan out for you? Or you just don't want it if they're not inmates. So my last actual relationship out here in the free world was in 2018, and we lived together and everything. And then I started getting inmates, and I've had like guys here and there in between, but I don't know. To say my last relationship out here in the free world is already such a wild sentence to utter. She will be on the phone with inmates during her live streams, just spewing words out of her mouth. "You're my 30th inmate. Did I not tell you that? You really are. I swear, I've been with 30 inmates. Now I'm in like a prison sister wife relationship. Because I guess the other prisoner she's talking to has a wife."
What? So like she will call them? Right. Or,
yes.
Like the conversation is like brief, I'm assuming. Like 'cause
No,
they can't talk all day long, right?
No, but sometimes it's not brief. It's not like 5 minutes. It's like 10, 15, sometimes more. And this is highly not allowed by most prison facility standards. You cannot be live streaming a prisoner's calls like that. You have to get proper permission.
Right.
And
But
she's just doing
streaming.
it.
Oh.
Yeah. She's saying this while her daughters are in the house, the doors are wide open, and their friends are over, and likely they're watching her on her live stream.
Wow.
Sometimes if the prisoners